إن الحمد لله نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Welcome to Quran Page a Day. Today inshallah we will be collecting gems from Surat Al-Fīl, which is surah number 105 in the Noble Quran. Surat Al-Fīl is a Makki surah. The word Al-Fīl means the elephant. This surah has 5 verses, and this was revealed between the period 613 to 615 AD. This surah tells the story of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saving the Kaaba from the evil plots of enemies. This incident happened the year Rasool Allah عليه وسلم was born. A Christian ruler named Abraha attacked Makkah with large African elephants in order to destroy the Kaaba. Before Abraha could harm the Kaaba, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed his army in a dramatic manner. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a large number of birds to destroy his army. And this surah describes the details of that incident and how the army was destroyed and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected the Kaaba. The theme of this surah is about the people of the elephants. So let's find out what is in Surat Al-Fīl. In the first verse of Surat Al-Fīl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds people and describes an incident that took place almost 4 decades before the surah was revealed. The Meccan people remembered the incident but may not have realized that the Kaaba and the local people were saved by Allah's grand plan. The verse reminds people how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dealt with the army of the elephants. Abdul Muttalib, who was the leader of Quraysh at the time, and he was the grandfather of Rasool Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, knew that they could not fight this mighty army of elephants that was coming to the Kaaba to destroy the Kaaba. So they had taken refuge in the nearby mountains and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help protect the Kaaba. So the second verse reminds people of how Allah alone failed the plan of Abraha and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need any helpers. He does not need any of our help to do what He wants to do. In the third verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds people how the small birds had destroyed this mighty army of elephants. The army of elephants may look scary to people, but to Allah it is a minor affair. To counter such a large attack, a group of small birds were more than enough. The size of the creatures did not decide the fate of the battle. Allah's plan to save the Kaaba was indeed a better plan. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions how the army was completely destroyed. A large number of birds had baked rocks in their beaks, and those were the weapons that they had used. And how when the baked rocks were thrown at the army, how the army was completely destroyed. And the elephants along with the soldiers, how they were completely crushed by these small birds who were very, very tiny, and how these birds, could hold these baked rocks in their beaks, and how it did not hurt the birds, but it completely destroyed the army. And then in the 5th verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes how complete the destruction was. The dead and dying army fell down on the ground. They were like chewed straw, dropped by animals, or leftover bones after vultures chew up human flesh. The soldiers who survived left Makkah in a hurry, and they too died of various diseases. Abraha's army was completely destroyed, and this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved the Kaaba from the evil plots of the enemies. Now it's time for a self-check. What do we learn? Some questions we need to be asking ourselves. Do I believe that Allah is in control of everything? Do I believe that Allah does not need anyone to do what He wants? Do I believe that Allah will eventually reward those who believe and follow Him? Do I believe Allah is the biggest of the planners? And was I able to learn and reflect on takeaways for myself? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to fulfill the rights of the Quran. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.